Hi folks, Kevin here. Well, it's January 18th, 2018, and I'm out in the chicken coop duck housing where there's multiple videos showing the, excuse the camera, showing the construction of the habitat. And I think a month or two ago, a viewer left a comment and asked a question. So it was C Magic number 3. Hi Kevin, I like the idea. And I think the video that he responded to was showing that we had changed things over with the bedding in the coop. I pulled out all the old bedding material and had brought in all the plants around here. So hi Kevin, I like the idea. I somehow missed the info on the substrate you are using in the coop. I hope you can hear my voice. Looks like mulch. If so, what materials are in it? I have runner ducks only, no chickens. I use oat straw over sand in night pen and with deep pea gravel under the water buckets. I have used deep bedding oat straw method over peat moss, but tends towards mold, which makes me nervous. Trying to find a balance between useful yet safe for their tender feet and the vulnerability of getting respiratory disease. So those are excellent points. I'm going to just turn the camera around for a second. Bear with me. So I'm still out here. I may end up having to take off out of here. First thing I'm going to mention is I'm just going to pan. So the direction I'm looking right now is towards the east. So that's the French doors going into the work area. This is where Boo's habitat was before. There's the duck's water pen down there where Boo is right now. And that's an area that's very wet. Here's an area that's under the perch. Here's a couple of the chickens up on the perches. There's a couple of the ducks down there. Some of the citrus trees still have foliage on them. The feeder. Here we are, now we're facing west here. This is the west wall where all those strong westerly winds come in. And down here, we're south. And all of the fig trees have lost all their leaves, and we have some citruses still have the foliage on them as well. So the material that we're using as the main substrate here are recently harvested wood chips. So at the time that I put these down, and it's about 6 inches deep, this material, and there's lots of pine needles in this. There's spruce needles. No, I'm sorry, it's more spruce needles. Lots of what people will call ramial chips as well. There are some of the bigger flakes and all. Well, that's actually some bread. But it's below this. There's 6 inches of. I mean, there's well over a foot of gravel below this. So that we put it in at 6 inches deep, and we put concrete borders where the walls are built on that sit out about 12 inches. You can hear one of the ducks if you listen during the video. You hear one of them coughing intermittently now, which could mean what you're concerned about. Now, we haven't had any respiratory issues in the ducks, and we haven't had any big issues with the chickens either. Now, the Khaki Campbells, they're like having wild ducks. Even though we raise them from little hatchlings, they're pretty wild. They're hard to get your hands on. They get stressed out when you go to get them. So what I need you to know is we're in a very cold, temperate part of the country near Lake Ontario. We've had a very long period of very harsh, with harsh winter Arctic blasts, with wind chills 30 degrees below 0 Fahrenheit, and temperatures like this morning it was 6 below here, and I think it's about 20 degrees above 0 now, which is, and freezing in Fahrenheit is 32 degrees. And one of the reasons that we made some changes in here is because we lost some of our chickens and ducks from coyotes and foxes. So And since the pond has frozen over because of the weather, we've isolated the ducks to stay inside of here. So, and the doors and windows have not been open, trying to maintain the temperature above freezing. So it's about 21 degrees outside. The lowest that the temperature got in here overnight, I think it was about 42 degrees Fahrenheit. But there is a little bit of a musty smell in here. So whatever materials you do have that you're using in your coops, especially with your duck housing, moisture, airflow, and sunlight are factors. So as much light as you can get into the area, having really good drainage is important as well. So I'm not sure what part of the country you're in. If I could have airflow going in here like I had in the past, I would have more airflow in here. We used to have that little door open all winter long right behind the ducks there. But I disconnected that, so that doesn't automatically open anymore. Let me just turn this around. So one of the things with ducks being susceptible to respiratory diseases, which are really common, all bird species are to some extent. Aspergillosis is a common disease that we would see where the spores would create inflammatory nodules in the air sacs and in the lungs. Back when I did wildlife and worked in an avian clinic as well. Even when I was an internist, technicians, nurses would bring in their pet birds and have me see them. And so it's not an uncommon problem. Now so one thing that I would say is that straw and those other materials that really hold lots and lots of moisture, like some of the materials right now over here in the corner, which I'm going to turn the bedding over, are going to produce lots and lots of mold spores. And these spores are tiny. I think they're 3 to like 40 microns in diameter or in length. And the other, human hairs, I think it's about 140 microns to give you some scale. This shouldn't be confused with aflatoxins, which are other aflatoxin poisons, which are deadly. There's a high mortality rate with those. But that little bit of coughing that's going on, it could be some nodules. Now, these boys really do beat up on each other all the time, and when we fill up the bins or when they're in the ponds, they go after the female, and they go after each other, and darn, you think that they're going to drown each other. But I'm suspicious that there may be some respiratory issues with the one duck that I'm hearing now. You can hear every once in a while. So it is a little musty in here. I think the keys are good airflow. Certainly straw is probably the last thing I would use for duck bedding. I'd really research other things. And the aflatoxins aflatoxins, we think about people who have nut allergies, like peanut allergies, because the aflatoxins may be the thing that many people are reacting to, minute quantities of the toxins from those specific species of Aspergillosis, Aspergilla. So I guess and they would grow on oat seeds and nutty materials and all. We've had fantastic results with these materials that we put into the coop. Now I haven't been over here and really cleaned up underneath the perch. If I were to turn the soil, to turn the mulchy type material, all the wood chips regularly, like every 2 weeks, I think there would be less of a chance of the mycelium from the mold working its way into the depths of the material and thereby causing the spores to emerge from the surface. But aspergillosis is every place. It's ubiquitous. The spores are. Yeah. So that's the material we're using. I'm always using other things over in here. Now, this is the first year that I've stopped using a separate composting bin for the microgreens. That's the soilless mixture that I grow, similar to the seed starting mix that we use for starting the seedlings that we're going to transplant in the gardens later on. So the microgreens that we're growing, after I harvest the microgreens, that material comes over here. The ducks and everybody love what's left of that. The coffee grounds go over in here as well. Any materials that we think the ducks and chickens would like. And so I'm going to throw some corn down in here and head back over to the house. If you have more questions, please leave a comment, ask more questions, let me know what you think. I really love this coop design. It's worked extremely well, but it's not perfect. Airflow should be better in here. So that's something that if it weren't for the coyote, there'd still be great airflow. And I could see the tracks were outside last night for the coyote again. So thanks so much for watching, folks. Have a great day. If I didn't answer your question well enough, please hit me again. I'd be happy to go in further detail. Thanks so much and have a great day. Bye-bye now.